Let me ask you something. Who told you that loving yourself was a sin? Who taught you that putting yourself first meant leaving others behind? Who convinced you that your value comes from how many pieces of yourself you can give away? See, somewhere along the way, we started confusing sacrifice with self-neglect. We started thinking that in order to be a good person, a good parent, a good partner, a good leader, we had to be last on our own list. That we had to wear struggle like a crown. But hear me now, you are not selfish. You're sacred. You are the foundation. And if the foundation is cracked, what you try to build on top of it will never stand for long. I remember watching my mother growing up. A woman who would work 2 jobs, cook dinner, check homework, iron clothes before dawn, never once complain. But behind that strength, I saw something. I saw fatigue so deep, it became invisible to everyone except her reflection. She poured herself out, day after day. And one day I asked her, "Ma, when do you get to rest?" She smiled and said, "One day." One day. How many of us are waiting for one day to choose ourselves? How many of us are postponing peace, delaying joy, putting healing on hold? Let me break it down for you. You are not a machine. You are not a checklist. You are not just what you do for other people. You are a living, breathing temple, and if you don't treat yourself with that kind of sacred respect, nobody else will. Loving yourself, honoring yourself, choosing yourself, that's not betrayal. That's the beginning of becoming whole. You deserve space. You deserve silence. You deserve dreams that belong to you and you alone. Putting yourself first doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring in the right order. Because if the light inside you burns out, how are you going to guide anybody home? People think showing up for everyone else is noble. But let me tell you, showing up for yourself, that's revolutionary. That's rare. That's what leaders do when they realize they're not just here to survive, they're here to thrive. You matter. Your rest matters. Your peace matters. Your growth matters. So no, you are not selfish. You are sacred. And it's time the world and you started treating you that way. You ever been on a plane before? I'm not talking first class or coach. I'm talking turbulence, announcements, tray tables up. You know the drill. Before that plane takes off, the flight attendant comes over the speaker, calm and clear, and says something we've all heard 100 times. In the event of a cabin pressure change, oxygen masks will drop from the ceiling. Please secure your own mask before assisting others. Now hold up. That line right there, that's not just aviation safety, that's life advice, because what they're really telling you is this. If you can't breathe, you can't help anybody else breathe either. If you're passed out trying to save everybody around you, who's saving you? So let me ask, how many of you are trying to put oxygen masks on everybody else while you're suffocating silently? We think it's heroic. We think it's honorable. I got you. I'll take care of it. I'm fine. But you ain't fine. You're exhausted. You're overwhelmed. You're running on empty, telling the world you're okay while your soul is gasping for air. We've been trained to believe that caring for ourselves is an afterthought. Something you do when all the fires are put out, when the kids are fed, the emails are answered, the favors are returned, and the house is quiet. But by the time all that's done, you're gone, mentally, physically, spiritually. Listen, self-preservation is not selfish. It's smart. It's necessary. You don't wait until the plane is falling out of the sky to think, maybe I should take a breath. I've seen folks break down, real strong folks, because they kept showing up for everyone but themselves. And when their light dimmed, when their body said no more, they didn't know what to do, because they had made everyone else's emergency more important than their own existence. Let me be real with you, you are no good to your family, your dreams, your community, your calling. If you're broken, bitter, or buried in burnout, you can love people deeply and still choose yourself first. You can be generous and still protect your capacity. You can serve others without sacrificing your sanity. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for the people around you is to model what wholeness looks like. Take a breath, secure your mask, then and only then go help the world. Because when you operate from a place of strength instead of survival, everything changes. Your words carry more weight. Your presence feels like peace. And your love isn't laced with resentment, it's rooted in overflow. So the next time life starts to shake and rattle, remember that plane, remember that voice, and don't you dare forget, You matter too. We've glamorized grind, we've turned exhaustion into achievement. Somewhere along the line, we decided that if you're not tired, you're not trying. If you're not stretched thin, then maybe you're not doing enough. But let me tell you right now, burnout is not a badge of honor. It's not a trophy. It's not a mark of greatness. It's a red flag waving in your soul saying, slow down before you break down. I've seen it with my own eyes, strong, capable people pushing themselves past the point of no return. Working 3 jobs, saying yes to everything, ignoring the aches in their body, the heaviness in their chest, the silence of their joy. And when you ask how they're doing, they smile and say, I'm just tired. I'll be fine. No, you won't. Not like that. You weren't built to run on fumes. You weren't born just to survive. Let me tell you something, rest is not weakness. You hear me? Rest is wisdom. Recovery is not indulgence, it's intelligence. But we've been conditioned to see slowing down as falling behind. So we keep pushing, keep forcing, keep running, until life stops us in ways we can't ignore. And that's what burnout does. It doesn't tap you on the shoulder. It tackles you to the ground. You start snapping at people you love. You forget why you started. You lose your light, and worst of all, you stop recognizing yourself. I once worked with a young man full of promise. Talented, driven, doing everything right except one thing. He never rested. Always one more thing to do, one more meeting to take, one more fire to put out. Then one day I saw him backstage, hands shaking, eyes empty. His voice cracked when he whispered, I'm tired, Mr. Washington, and I don't know how to stop. Let me say this for anyone who needs to hear it: you don't have to collapse to take a break. You don't need permission to pause. You don't have to earn your rest by breaking your spirit. You have nothing to prove to people who are impressed by your suffering. Your worth is not measured by how much you can endure. Your value is not defined by how little you ask for. You're not meant to live life at the mercy of the next emergency. You're meant to live intentionally, with peace in your heart and presence in your spirit. Burnout doesn't make you stronger. It makes you numb. And you can't lead, love, or live fully when you're running on empty. So take off the badge. Let go of the hustle that leaves you hollow. Honor your limits, not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to protect your fire. Because the world doesn't need a burnt-out version of you. It needs the version that's alive. The one that still remembers how to breathe, how to dream, how to feel. You ever see a house without walls? Just wide open, no doors, no rooms, no locks. Anybody can walk in, stay as long as they want, make a mess, leave, come back. That's chaos, right? Now think about your life. If you don't set boundaries, if you don't define where you begin and where others end, you're that open house. Anybody can come in, anybody can take from you, and they will. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They're blueprints for how you build a life that protects your peace, your energy, and your purpose. They're not about pushing people away. They're about deciding who and what gets to come close and how close. Let me tell you, I had to learn this the hard way. There was a time in my life when I said yes to everything. Every meeting, every favor, every late night call. I thought I was being dependable. I thought I was being generous, and maybe I was, but I was also being drained. I was exhausted and resentful, not because people were taking advantage of me, but because I wasn't drawing the line. You train people how to treat you by what you allow. If you never say no, if you never pause and protect your space, then people will keep pulling from you until there's nothing left. And here's the truth: most folks don't want to hear. Some of the people closest to you will be the ones who test your boundaries the most. Not because they're bad people, but because you've taught them that you're always available. That your needs come second, that your time, your energy, your emotional bandwidth, it's theirs for the taking. That stops now. You've got dreams to build, you've got healing to do, you've got a soul to protect. And none of that happens when you're constantly adjusting yourself to fit into someone else's chaos. A boundary can be as simple as I can't talk right now, or I won't tolerate that tone, or this isn't serving me anymore. And let me tell you, when you start setting those boundaries, some folks will call you selfish. They'll say you've changed, and you know what? You have. You're choosing peace over performance, growth over guilt, health over hustle, and not everybody's going to clap for that, but that's not your problem. Your job is not to keep everyone comfortable. Your job is to keep yourself centered. Because here's the secret. Boundaries don't just keep the wrong things out, they make space for the right things to come in. Real rest, real relationships, real purpose. When you stop trying to be everywhere, for everyone, you finally have time to show up for yourself. You start living by design, not default. You stop reacting and start responding. And that right there, that's power, that's peace, that's freedom. So draw your lines, speak your limits. Make no apologies for choosing to honor your spirit. 2025 is not just another calendar flip, not just another new year, new me post on January 1st that fades by February. No, this year is different. This year demands something deeper. It demands intentional living. Because if you're not living on purpose, you're just surviving by accident. Waking up, running the same routine, answering the same emails, scrolling through the same feed, and calling that a life. But is it? Let me ask you, are you living, or are you just performing? Are you choosing your days, or are you letting your days choose you? Because that's what intention is: choice. Deliberate, unapologetic, grounded choice. And this year, you can't afford to drift anymore, not with the way your soul is calling. Not with the dreams that still have your fingerprints on them. You've wasted enough time waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to validate your path, waiting for the stars to align or for life to slow down long enough for you to catch up. But the truth is, the moment is now. The permission is already yours. This year is not going to hand you peace. You have to build it. This year won't deliver purpose on a silver platter. You have to dig for it, fight for it, protect it. Intentional living means asking, what do I really want? Not what looks good on paper, not what makes others clap. What feeds me, what aligns with my values, what feels true to the person I'm becoming. It means letting go of the noise, the pressure, the guilt, the narrative that says you always have to be doing more, faster, louder. No, this is the year of doing less, but doing it well. Going deeper instead of wider. Slowing down so you can speed up the right way. I had a conversation recently with a brother who said, "Man, I feel like I've been running so long, I forgot what I was chasing." I looked at him and said, then stop running, stand still, ask yourself who you are without the hustle. See, 2025 is not asking you to hustle harder, it's asking you to live smarter, to create days that reflect your truth, not your trauma. To move with clarity, not chaos. To wake up each morning not with dread, but with direction. And that doesn't mean you'll have it all figured out. It doesn't mean everything will be smooth. But it means that every step you take, even the hard ones, will be yours. Not inherited, not borrowed, not performative. Yours. So when you look back at this year, don't just count the achievements. Count the moments where you chose presence over pressure. Where you chose alignment over approval. Where you chose you. Because at the end of the day, this life, this one precious, unrepeatable life, it's not about how much you did, it's about how deeply you lived. So here we are. You've heard the truth tonight, not just mine, but yours. The one that's been whispering underneath the noise, under the guilt, beneath the hustle. You are not selfish, you are sacred. You're allowed to breathe first. You're allowed to build a life that doesn't burn you alive. Burnout is not the price of greatness. Boundaries are not barriers, they are bridges back to yourself. And this year is yours, but only if you claim it, only if you choose it. No more apologizing for needing rest. No more shrinking to make others comfortable. No more pouring into everyone else while leaving yourself empty. Because if you don't value your peace, nobody else will. If you don't protect your energy, the world will drain it for you. If you don't define your life, you'll end up living someone else's. You don't need permission. You don't need another sign. This is the sign. This is your moment to rise, not with noise, but with intention. Not by doing more, but by becoming more of who you really are. So when you walk out of here, walk different. Walk like someone who knows they're worthy. Walk like someone who's no longer available for anything that costs them their soul. Walk like someone who's finally come home to themselves. Because when you put yourself first, you don't push the world away. You show up to it whole, present, powerful, and that, my friends, is how you change everything. Now go live like you mean it. 2025 is waiting for you to show up fully, and I promise you, the world will be better when you do.